All right, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. Paul Tranny here with the one and only Temi Coker. I nailed it?
Yeah, you did.
Yay!
Day
or
two.
Temi, or actually you pronounce it a little differently.
Temi.
So either way, it's fantastic to have you.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's good. Day two. I want to welcome Heidi and Lee and Tom and Deborah and everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I think we have a super fun day today because it's all about designing in Photoshop. So super fun. Let's kind of click through the schedule because it's going to vary from segment to segment. We had the Daily Creative Challenge in XD just wrapped up, so we can talk about that later. Temi's going to be doing showing off what he is going to do today. Shauna's going to do some lettering. Jake's going to do some animation. Reza's going to do some comic strip action. So we're covering the gamut, and it changes almost from hour to hour. So. Either way, we're super happy that you're here, Anias and Juan, and of course, Van Dam's in the house. Good to have you here. From around the world, super cool. And one more quick housekeeping thing is we have this fancy challenge tab. You kind of check that out. Create an illustration focused on symmetry using Photoshop CC. So it is enabling the paint symmetry in Photoshop CC. So through basically preferences. And you can actually control that. Let's see if I can just tab over, boop, right in here. Just creating a new blank file. And I actually already have it turned on. Technology previews right down here at the bottom. Zoop. Have you played with this?
I haven't. I want to try it today because I saw Shauna use it yesterday. It seemed really nice. And I had a dream I was using it.
Oh, really?
I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad. Cause
I don't know.
Were you dreaming about work or you were just having fun
I think I was
in your
dreaming
brain?
about work because I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
That is awesome. And just so you know, when you turn it on and you select a brush, right up here at the top, it's this option, so you can change it from all these different options.
Wow.
So yeah, so you get the idea. If you do dual axis, you know what's going to happen. Placing it wherever, and then
Applying it.
Yeah, you get the idea. It's not a good brush, but pick a better brush. Temi, I'm sure you could do a much better job, but in general, you can kind of see what that does. So create something beautiful and colorful and lovely, and we will review those today as they come in, and we will review the challenge winner from yesterday here in a little bit. So that's what's happening. Disregard my mess. We gotta switch to. We need a palette cleanser. Like your work. Look at all this, all of your work behind us and in front of us now here in Photoshop.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is what we did yesterday. We were messing around with the layer masks. We're using color lookup, which is something I learned from Paul yesterday. We're also using curves, hue and saturation, and we're using beta fish, or what else do we call it? Siamese.
Oh yeah.
Siamese fighting fish.
Yeah.
And we used that to kind of create this composite. So this was day one. We made 2 of them, but this is probably the one I really liked the most.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It is really cool.
Thanks.
You did a great job, man. And I think just to kind of take a peek at the layers, I mean, it's not overly complex. You know, if you could pull that out, you kind of get the idea.
It's really not, and I just want people to know that it's not that hard. What I did is just, it all starts up here, right? And then it's just all about how can I make this work. So this is literally just the fin. I put it on her head.
Oh yeah.
Then I added this as the shadow right here.
Yeah,
the shadow to kind of make it look real.
That's really fun.
And then of course she's missing. But we had different things we wanted to do to her face to make it lighter. And then we just added a bunch of beta fishes, and yeah,
played with it. Make sure to kind of follow the sort of the curves of the body, if you will, just to kind of make a nice flow. I like how that looks like her shoulder. And I would say for this, we really thank you so much actually for chat, just to chiming in and like, we've been able to bounce ideas off of them on what looks good. Say with the face, whether it's like full color or is it black and white and stuff like that. So
Right.
thank you so much for joining us because we could use you. Yes. Now you know. Mark now knows why.
Right.
So many people use fishes in the
comp for yesterday's
Yeah.
challenge.
And speaking of Mark, since Mark's here, let's go ahead and dive into this because I want to congratulate Mark. Mark
snaps.
Latulip is the winner of our Daily Creative Challenge for yesterday, which is all about compositing
Wow.
a human and animal hybrid. Isn't that gorgeous?
That is amazing. Is that like a parrot that he used?
Uh,
Because I feel like I can see the
in
body.
in a post he did yesterday, he showed the original photographs. So I
Okay.
think it was like a parrot, and the person was actually upside down in a loop, and it was a whole thing. But congratulations, want to give yes.
Wow, I need to
Mark.
turn this for Mark.
Yes, we do. Congratulations, Mark. Oh, there we go. Perfect.
There we go. Okay.
Right. So here.
Wow.
So you know what? I could.
He literally took her out of the loop.
Yeah. Boom.
What am I doing in my life? Okay.
So.
Wow, I definitely.
What? Look at this.
I
Like,
definitely
so much work.
might need to try that.
Oh,
Wow.
look, thank you so much for. This is what I love to see in a Behance project.
Right.
Is
just
like
the.
Peeking under the hood and like, how did you put this together?
that a
Oh my
time lapse?
goodness. Let's make sure this is muted, but there's also a video.
Oh, it's a time
Mark.
lapse. Mark, amazing.
Mark Latulip is our winner for the Daily Creative Challenge, wins 1 year of Creative Cloud. Congratulations, Mark. We just think you're
Congratulations.
fantastic, especially going the extra miles, building out this whole project. And again, we're just giving out people opportunity to create something, maybe win Creative Cloud, building out your portfolio, and that's what we're gonna happen. That's what we're gonna do today.
Right.
And inspired by yours, like again, same idea, having the curves of a body turn into another animal or fish.
And I just love that, everyone can learn the same way to do something, but the results are always going to be different,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, exactly. So, and as Adobe Live says, this could be you. This could be you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So start illustrating using the symmetry brush capabilities. This is apparently what you do. You know how you have certain motions? This is symmetry brush.
It looks so cool. I'm really excited to try it out today.
Super fun. And you have some great, what's the plan today actually?
Yeah, so today I'm going to make a poster using the mixer brush tool. I have an image of a woman I got from Adobe stock, and she has some nice glasses. So I'm just gonna make a new document, 8.5 by 11, like I did yesterday with the resolution on 300. And I'm gonna bring this lady in, because I just love the picture. Looks really good.
Yeah, wow.
And this is gonna be easy because I
Ooh,
don't
I
have
like
to
it.
try to take her out of the background because I like the black background already.
And feel free to do that, like for the project, like you can take a watermarked, image from good old Adobe stock.
Yeah.
Feel free to like for the project. Not
Exactly.
A big deal. We don't, yeah.
Exactly.
though.
Thanks. So I showed you guys how I used the mixer brush tool yesterday, so I'm just gonna kind of go over that again so you guys can kind of see my thought process. So I made a new layer. Here I'm going to use my elliptical marquee tool. I'm going to make a circle, and I'm going to use my gradient tool, and I'm going to I made a gradient that was like pink to yellow. So I'm just going to do that in here, and I kind of want it to be something like this. All right, now I press Command V and I press Command D. And so now on this layer, we just have this shape, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into my brush, mixer brush tool. I'm gonna hold down Alt. And if you hold down Alt, it actually samples the layer. Make sure you clicked on the layer. So right here, as you can see, it sampled
Nice.
that. So if I start drawing, that's what I have,
Sweet.
right?
Do that again. You need
Yeah.
to do that some more because I like it.
So if I just go like that, I can make different shapes. If you're really into calligraphy and you have a Wacom tablet, this would be so much more easier.
That's great though. So this is, and it looks like the blend tool in Illustrator.
Exactly.
Right? Like it has such depth, and even when other people look at this, they'll be like, okay, did you render that in 3D? Looks like the blend tool could look like 3D. You're doing it in Photoshop, and all you did it the simplest way possible, which is just the best way. Like,
and I found this
so
tutorial on
nice.
YouTube, and after I found it, I just started tweaking it and trying to figure out how I can make it work for myself.
Good man, I love it. So, and can we kind of pick apart like the brush you're using the mixer brush?
Yes, I'm using the mixer brush tool. I'm using the dry and heavy load because I just feel like it's better. Because you can see the dry and light load is like, it fades away and you have to kind of click and go back to it.
Oh, I see.
Right?
So you're really like loading that up with paint, if you will.
Exactly. So just think of like a big paintbrush and there's a whole gallon of paint inside and it never runs out.
Nice.
Right? So, so I like my lines to be cleaner, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use the pen tool. So as you can see, I made a new layer. The mistake that a lot of people make is that on this layer, they start drawing, and before they know it, the drawing is on that layer, and now they can't take this out.
Yeah, right?
Know? I've had that happen to me a lot. Because now if I'm trying to move this, I'm moving the whole thing.
I know. I hear you.
So I made a new layer. I already have my sample. Now I'm gonna bring my image back up, right? And my brush pretty much kind of fits the circle of her face, which is really good for me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use my pen tool, and I'm just going to make sure it's on path. And now I'm just going to like tweak this around and just make weird,
some cool like swooshes.
Exactly.
I love doing this too because you could really obviously like control the curves and the swoosh and everything. Like,
exactly.
Because otherwise it's too nerve-wracking.
It's too nerve-wracking.
Like, I'm too, like you're too much of a perfectionist to just like do it out of the box. Like I'm glad, yeah, good job, but I can't do it.
So I'm gonna label this path 1. If I go into my path, so my path is right there, I right click and I click on stroke path. And it asks me what tool I want to use, and I say I want to use the mixer brush tool. And so when I press OK, it's starting to follow my path. Right, so now we have this, and I'm just gonna kind of move it around just a little. And yeah, and the cool thing is if you decide you want to make it a little bit bigger, you can easily do that since it's already there. All right, so I have this coming out of her eye. Now I'm gonna make another one. And I'm just gonna make this probably go out maybe this way. Yeah. Right? Ooh, I don't like that curve. Yeah, I'm just gonna make it go out like that. All right, now I'm gonna go back into my path, same thing. Press OK. And now, this is what we have.
Very cool.
Okay, so
like
it looks
the
pretty cool.
colors.
When I go to my layers, I'm gonna move it just a little and maybe make it a little bit bigger.
Jose says you're awesome. Temi.
Thanks, Jose. I appreciate it.
Aaron Fields likes it. It's good. It's good. It's kind of crazy, and it's like pretty easy
Yeah.
overall.
I just wanted to show people like how easy this can be. Of course, I'm gonna add details that make it look more realistic.
And this is, I mean, like everything you do in here looks really good. Everything from just the gradient that you picked to the photo, and I've noticed you do this with like a lot of your pieces. It just, you're definitely approaching it from like a designer's eye.
Right.
You know, like it's gonna be fun to play with this and see how it evolves.
Yeah, definitely. I love messing around with colors and stuff like that.
I love that gradient, quite frankly.
Thank
Like,
you. It's
I
one
will
of my-
judge
it's
you
one of
based
my-
on your gradient.
It's one of my
There's
best
a
ones.
fine line between good gradients and bad gradients.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Definitely.
Yeah, you know, like this color combo, awesome.
Thank you. So now we need to add some shadows. into this.
Jose's asking if drop shadows, strokes, etc. can be added to these paths.
Yes, so you can just go to FX and you can literally say drop shadow.
And I would say what a good thing to do here, you could just do that drop shadow, but like what if you want to make it look like this part, like maybe you want to have more of a shadow under here and add a highlight on the top there. I don't know if you were going to get into that, but I'd be interested.
So I definitely do mine a different way because I like to have control.
Okay.
But I've also learned that even if I use my drop shadow thing here, I can actually, I was able to somehow expand the effect. I don't remember how I did it, but yeah. Is it create layer?
What are you gonna do? Expand the effect? Oh, like put the drop shadow on a different layer?
On a different layer.
Yeah,
yep.
did you do that?
Yeah, I just did it.
Yeah, perfect.
So now I can use my my layer mask and hide parts of it if I wanted to.
Nice.
Right.
And I noticed yesterday you used dodge and burn. And you probably, would that work here in this case?
Yes.
For some of this, if you wanted to add a highlight? And I don't know how it would, you know.
It definitely could. I haven't I haven't tried it for this, but you definitely could.
Yeah.
All right. So now
I just think it looks so good. I'd be like, sometimes you're just like, I don't want to mess with it because I'll screw it up. It already looks fantastic.
That's sometimes what I'm scared of.
Yeah.
I like to experiment a lot.
Save your file, duplicate layers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you hold down Command and you click on the layer, it turns it into a selection, right? So now I'm gonna make a new layer. I'm just gonna call this like eyeshadow. Because right now, I want it to look like it's coming out of her glasses, right? So what I'm gonna do is hold on Command. I'm gonna click on that layer and select it. So now anything I do or paint is going to be inside, right? So I'm gonna start kind of painting here to kind of give it that kind of dark-ish shadow. And you kind of want to be careful because you can overdo it, which is like that. So I just mess around with it just a little, and now it looks like it's coming out of her eye. Now that one was a little bit too much, so I'm gonna kind of make it more subtle.
Anel likes it.
All right.
Adon, good to have you here. Let us know where you're joining us from. Always interested in seeing where people are from, and especially if it's your first time joining us.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Jose is asking about Command again. Yeah, Command click on the layer, and it makes it into a selection. So I'm gonna do this for the other one, and I'm gonna make another layer, and I'm just gonna do the exact same thing in here. Right. So it looks like it's coming out. Now it still doesn't look realistic because we need some shadows here. Now we could still do the exact same thing I did. And if you hold down select and inverse, it's going to inverse your selection. So now everything outside of what you selected is selected. So now I can go outside of this and add some dark shadows if I want to. Right. It makes it a lot easier because I always like to have control. And you also just want to know where you want to put the shadows, right? You don't want to put it on each side sometimes because shadows don't always happen on the same side.
good to have you, Catherine from Wisconsin, Matthew from Rochester, and Anias from Peru, Kiev in the house, Ukraine, Vlad. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Just shout outs. Like this. And you could even do it pretty strong like this, and I think since all that's on its own layer, you can play with layer modes.
Exactly.
To kind of.
Yep. And that's what I'm going to do next. I have an image that I put in day 2. And what I'm going to do with this image is I'm going to clip it. Oh, snap, this actually looks good. I'm going to clip it into these two. So I'm going to group these, and I'm just going to say eye path or something. And then if I clip it, it's now clipped into, it's now clipped
Oh,
into
yeah.
the shape that I made. Now I'm pressing Command T so I can make it bigger so it fits the whole thing. So here we have it, and now I can play with the blending modes, right? I can do multiply, lighten, which doesn't really do anything, overlay.
That's
That kind of
kinda
makes
cool.
it, yeah. Kind of gives the texture. I like my stuff to have texture. Soft light is also pretty cool.
And that's all you do. Like you'll kind of go through and just start like changing
The blending modes to fit what I like. So I think for this, I'll probably go with the, ooh, that looks pretty cool too. I'll probably go with the soft to light. And if I copy that, I can actually put another copy of that on top of it, and then just find another blending mode and mix them all together. But I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, so this is pretty much how you would make something like this. The possibilities are endless. I mean, now with the pen tool, since we already have that still in our mixer brush, I can always make a new layer. And if I wanted to, I could make my brush a little bigger, and I can say, hey, I want to add some type of curve right here. And then I just go into my path, do the exact same thing, and now I have a bigger curve, right? So if I kind of want to start, framing this whole thing, I can do that as well. Right, so the possibilities are definitely endless, and even what I'm thinking now is maybe I could do a Gaussian blur. No, not a Gaussian blur. Motion blur. All right. So there's so many things you can do.
That even looks cool. And I like you're just kind of like playing around and just kind of seeing what looks good. I even like this look right here, just like that adds like a bokeh
yeah, almost
effect.
like a flare type of thing, and I could copy it, and I could maybe start
It's really
putting it in
good.
areas.
So yeah, Tim, you're right. You are using just a trackpad. She's using a MacBook Pro.
Yeah,
and a
I'm using the
trackpad.
MacBook Pro. I am using the trackpad. That's how I learned the pen tool. I actually just got a Wacom tablet. Thank you, Adobe and Wacom. So I'm gonna start using the Wacom tablet when I get back to Dallas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Patricia's asking, what is a mixer brush? That's what we've been using. It's a good chance to recap, just so you know.
Yeah, the mixer brush tool is pretty much a brush tool that is really for painters. So let's say you want to paint the sky, but you don't want the sky to just be blue. You want it to kind of be blue and white. You can start to use the mixer brush tool to mix colors together. I learned about this tool when I was teaching my high school students about coloring in Photoshop. And and then I found a tutorial on how people are using it in different ways. And so I figured out how I could possibly use it in a way that would benefit my style and whatnot.
Very cool.
So yeah.
That is very cool. Can I show something?
Yes.
Do you mind?
No.
I want to show you something because it's kind of like the mixer brush. And again, this is not my tip either.
Whoa.
This is from Luke Choice. So all I did is, like, this is my sample layer. The same way you made a gradient, I just have this mess of colors.
Right.
Right? So on this new layer, I'm like, okay, this is the layer I'm gonna paint on. I'm gonna use right over here, the smudge tool. So check this out, I'm gonna do smudge tool, and then right up here at the top, strength 100%, sample from all layers. Right? But the big thing is this is at 100%. And I'm actually making sure this is a hard brush because it's just gonna look better if it's really hard.
Right.
And this is the size of it. Now watch what happens when I start to, I'm not gonna be very good, but just like, it will start to
That's
smudge
what I was
it.
talking about yesterday. I saw on Adobe Create Mag. I think it's the same guy you're talking about. It was Skittles.
It's it's Velvet.
Wow.
VET. I'm not even doing this. Very good. Spectrum.
Wow.
Spectrum. Anyways, you get the idea. Super
really
cool,
like
and that's
that.
all you're doing. You can do like, a yes.
You can make the whole alphabet.
Yeah. So this is sort of a final version, just to kind of click through. that I threw together based on, and again, this is Luke Choice's thing, but this is just literally. So once you get the Wacom, you're gonna be able to have this variance in stroke, which is nice.
Yes.
Since you're using a trackpad, just like I am, it's
hard.
either on or off,
Right.
and you're not getting this thickness to this thinness right here.
Oh my gosh.
And the same thing over here for if we open up this, and I'll just pull out these layers. I just started painting in black and white on this layer. So look at take that to normal. This is my messiness right over here. But these are the highlights and the drop shadows.
Oh wow.
So that's what I did, just painted really messy. And then right over here I said, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and change this to like overlay. Change that to overlay, and it gives it this dimension.
Yeah.
But again, we're just kind of screwing around.
Wow. I can't wait to use the Wacom. I'm excited.
Yeah, I know. It's just nice being able to have that variance in stroke. And when you do that, whether it's the mixer brush or smudge tool or whatever, use pressure for size.
Okay.
So that's, you turn that on, and then you're like golden.
Wow.
So, anyways, super
I
cool.
love that.
Check out Velvet Spectrum, and it's fun because like this guy does a lot of 3D, but here we're working in Photoshop, and creating this 3D look, this like sort of eye-popping look in this case that's super easy to create. Oh, by the way, sorry to keep talking, but like I love that when you're using the mixer brush, you have that line.
That allows you to kind of control.
Yeah, because otherwise it's too fast. That line it's a lag meant to allow you to correct before the stroke meets your mouse.
And it's so helpful.
Yeah, and that's
way better
that's a
than
new
before.
thing. And you could actually turn that on and off or adjust it up at the top. Actually, do that drop down. So that is the
Stroke catch-up.
stroke catch up.
Okay.
And there's like pulled string mode.
What's that?
You could try it. I don't know. You can play around. But this looks really good. Just don't save this because this looks really good.
Oh yeah.
Don't
like
break
yesterday.
it. Don't break it. This looks so good.
Okay. So
This.
let's save this. Day 2.
Hello from India. Good to have you, Trisha. Fantastic. Gilead. Hello. Good to have everybody. Riz as well. Welcome. If you're just joining us.
Right.
Here with Temi, day 2, creative resident, photographer, designer, man of many talents, as you can see here.
Thank you.
And you're just playing around using your design eye, coming up with something like really cool like this, which I like.
So like this is pretty much completed. I like everything about it, and
this is the thing. Like honestly, we have some people in here that. I mean, they were struggling to get something done within the time allotted.
Right.
You've been able to, at least like for today, between today and yesterday, knock out things pretty fast.
Yeah, and I think it comes from like the poster day project that I was doing. After a while, I got very familiar with the tools, and so some days it would take me like 20 minutes to make a poster. Some days it would take me like an hour or 2. I remember when I first started, it was taking me like a good 2-3 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, and just so you know what that is, if I just kind of switch over, you can always click on the About tab and dive into his portfolio right here. And this is what you were referring to, is this type of work. And you were just knocking out a poster a day, creating a glitch effect.
Yes.
You could see this, right? Oh, you kind of showed this a little bit yesterday, actually. You made this a little bit differently, right?
Yeah. So this one was a different, same effect, but different outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Because was this a wave filter?
Yeah.
or
So
something?
I actually stored it in here as well. It wasn't a wave filter. I went to I opened it on Illustrator, and on Illustrator I was able to, let me see, it's actually in my library. In Illustrator I was able to come up with these lines using the blend mode. So I made one line at the top, one line at the bottom, used the blend mode, and then the segments I had like 500 lines in between.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
So, and then I started tweaking it.
So nice. I mean, this is so cool.
Thanks. I wonder if I could put it into.
Yeah. And maybe we tackle another. Maybe we make another poster.
Oh yeah, I am definitely down for that.
And maybe let's give away something. And I did not mention chat and win, but what we'd like to do at semi-random times is give away something to chat to you. Today we have Tatley. Fake tattoos. They're real tattoos. They're just really temporary, and they're by real artists. I think they're awesome. I love them, and we're gonna give those away right now. A pack. That's why you see these fireworks going off.
Everyone, chat.
Be like, what's up? Love the. Is that Chance the Rapper? Somebody was asking. Is that Chance the Rapper right over here?
Oh yeah. So my friend, this one. Yeah, my friend, Chris. He has this thing called 8-bit hip hop. So he does like 8-bit stickers of people, and he gave me these two. So it was really nice. Those are two artists I really like. So
Chance, and then who's that?
Erykah Badu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's actually from Dallas. She's in Dallas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because they're doing great. Seeing chat move.
Who's gonna move? Who's gonna win?
Everybody is entering in to win, and let's go ahead and take it to chat and win. All right, that is our video to reveal our winner of this chat and win. And all you have to do is type in something in chat so we know somebody's at the other end of that keyboard.
Right.
And that you have hands, because you're going to need those hands to apply these tattoos onto you or someone you love.
Jose! Hey! Congratulations.
Jose Gonzalez.
Jose won.
Good job, Jose. You are the proud owner of
He's going off in the chat.
Jose Gonzalez. He may or may not be the singer-songwriter.
Right.
And congratulations. I love those. They're just so cool.
Yeah.
For somebody who doesn't have a tattoo, do you have tattoo envy? I have tattoo envy. When
I
see
do.
Tattoos,
I actually want a sleeve one day, but I don't know. My mom might faint, so.
Yeah, she might kill you.
Well, if my wife likes it, that's all that matters, really.
I just want a temporary sleeve, just temporary.
You don't want to? You should get a real one.
No, I don't think so. I'm too much of a chicken. I can't even hardly make JPEGs because I want to keep everything in layers. That's how non-committal I am. I'm like, I don't even want to flatten layers, yet alone get a tattoo. So.
That's funny.
Yeah, let's do another one. Can we do another one?
Yes, let's do it.
And that's why I love live, because this is like, you're just kind of coming up with, this is live based on you and chat, like helping us, asking questions, telling us what looks good, pro tips, and that's what today is all about. Designing in Photoshop, which is really cool.
Let me,
So.
I'm gonna do something.
Jose, don't worry, your stickers are gonna arrive. Actually, we have somebody from Adobe Live show up at your house and ask you where you want the tattoo, and then they lick your arm and apply it directly. That's Gus that does that. Where do you want this? And he's like, slaps it on you.
Puts it on them. That's funny.
I'm kidding. I gotta stop. Too much coffee.
All right, so I am currently looking for another image that I have in mind that I have from Adobe stock. And we're gonna go a different route, something a little bit, not scary, but when I figured out how to do it, I was kind of addicted. All right, so what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna show you guys the power of the blending modes in Photoshop. Right, so I have these two objects. I have a crystal and I have this lady. With this crystal, I'm just going to do select subject, which is Photoshop's newest thing that allows you to not have to do the selecting. Photoshop will do it for you. And it does a pretty good job, as you can see. But if you go to select and mask, I usually used to do that. I still do, but if I'm lazy, I just go into the whole select and mask.
And you know, we're like right where to go, by the way. You're like, okay, this shadow's gonna be an issue. You know,
right.
It's probably not gonna pick it up.
I knew exactly, because it picks up the edges. So it does its best picking up the edges. And and sometimes I know that it will have issues with shadows.
Yeah.
So I press OK, and I have this as a selection, and I say layer via copy. Now, can anyone guess what I'm about to do with this crystal? Can you guess? What do you think?
I don't know. I think you're gonna kind of put it on her face. You're gonna make her half crystal woman.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
I like the idea.
So I'm pretty much gonna hide her, put it on her face. Now, before I do that,
Andrea wants you to do that as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, awesome. Put it on her mouth.
On the mouth. Yeah. Hey,
That could work.
I love all the ideas because it could literally be like a gloss,
On her lips,
a gloss
yeah.
on her lips. I think if you try to put it on her face, like how do you get it to kind of conform to her face would be another interesting scenario.
So I'll show you guys how to do that. So I'm gonna make a layer of the lady, and I'm gonna put it at the top, and I'm going to change it to hue. Now what this does is that it makes the crystal kind of conform to the color of her face, right? Because if not, if this was on top and this was normal, it would just be purple. And then I would have to go into my hue and saturation and try to make it match her face. But if I bring a copy of the layer at the top and I have it on hue, it would actually it would actually conform to her skin color. So now I'm gonna add a layer mask, and I'm gonna use my brush here, brush tool.
Added a layer mask.
Yeah.
Brush selected with black. Painting with black.
And the way layer mask work is that if it's white, it reveals. If it's black, it conceals. That's the best way to remember. So if I want to hide parts of this, I have a white layer, so everything is showing. If I use black, think of when the lights are turned off. You can do that as well. So this is what I'm doing to her face, and as you can see.
So you really want to make those crystals obviously like her skin tone. Like
exactly.
Maybe there's, I don't know if she's I don't know if it's very much like a, not quite I don't know. She's basically turning into crystals or part crystal. Or
exactly. I want her whole face to be crystal, right? Even her eyes, but I want the center of everything to kind of be in the middle, right here.
You know what would be really cool is if you could break off, this would take longer, breaking off pieces and maybe her eye is on this crystal that's kind of here and the nose is there.
That could be something,
stuff.
Yeah. And so I could use the pencil if I wanted to, but I kind of don't want to right now. So I'm just gonna use the brush and try to get as precise as I can. And there we go. All right, so now it looks okay, but it doesn't look realistic to me, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to have it on overlay. And now I'm going to use black paint. And now if I start painting black, it starts to look real.
And you're on a layer on top.
And I have it on overlay.
Set to overlay.
Right.
Got it.
So if I go to I can go to the edges and try to make the edges a little darker. So I pretty much have control here, right? And then if I really want to make the inside really dark, almost looking like something is on the inside, then I would do that. But yeah, so this is another quick trick. If I decide I really want to try to make it fit her face, I press Command T, and I can use the warp, and I can start to kind of just make it conform to her face. All right. And so yeah.
Catherine, to answer your question, the brush effects that I was doing earlier, you can't do it in Adobe Sketch with Apple Pencil. It's a smudge effect.
Right.
What I suggest there, the closest you're gonna get with Apple Pencil and Adobe Photoshop Sketch is you should use Adobe Capture to capture a brush and then use that in Sketch, and that will enable you to get really cool effects.
Interesting.
You know, it's really kind of fun, just so you know.
Right. Very cool.
Yeah, I like this. Yeah, I totally like.
It's just random, but it works.
Do you kind of, is that what you do? You like kind of find a photo and think, okay, like what can I do to this to make it really interesting and compelling?
Exactly.
Right? Because that's what you did here. You're like, hey, you know what? Why don't I do this?
And it's all like trial and error for me, and it's just I try stuff, and if I like it, I like it. But for whatever reason, I think I did this for fun, but it kind of had a meaning. That this piece is still beautiful, even though you can't really see the person's face, right? So like, it comes from the inspiration came from this phrase called broken crayon still color, which means like, you know, people who still go through a hard time or whatever, they can still make something beautiful. And so even though this piece might look scary, I had a lot of people hopping in my DMs asking me and telling me that, you know, this meant something to them or whatever. So,
Very cool.
Just thought I would just show you guys how to do that. That was pretty easy.
And there it goes.
And
I thought when I first saw this photo, I thought you were gonna actually do some of that things like coming out of our fingers, like with the mixer brush.
Ooh.
That's what I was thinking you were maybe gonna do, and I was like, oh, that's.
I could try it. My only hesitance is that would it flow with like what is on her face?
Yeah, it would probably have to be a separate piece because it'd be two different styles.
Two different things, right?
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so that was one that I really liked doing. I'm going to bring another one where I'm going to use the mixer brush tool majority of the time. But actually before that, I'm just going to group these together. And I'm going to bring this here along with this. Someone said it was disturbing. That's art for you.
Yeah. And just to remind everybody of the challenge today is all about using the symmetry brush, just so you know.
Yes.
I'm gonna cover that in a second.
Actually, let me try and see if I can actually have that in here with this poster. All right, so I have this other image of this lady, and I'm going to click on select and mask. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select her out of the background. And this is fairly simple because she has on black, so there's a lot of the edges are noticeable in Photoshop. And I'm just going to select that. Now don't worry too much about the blues. I'm going to see if I can fix that.
This is like most of your job in Photoshop is all about like selecting things.
Yeah.
Like if you could master selections, that's like
half the battle.
Yeah, easily.
Especially when you have ideas and you're just like, man, I want to take this.
Yeah, take her out, isolate her.
Yeah, do different things.
And I like how you've been using select subject. So you select the selection tool. It's going to be up there in your options bar at the top.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I have this lady here. And I really like the color of the original background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sample that for my gradients. So I'm going to click here and kind of have this blue. I'm going to click in the middle. It kind of changes to almost this purple, and then it changes to purple. So that is my gradient that I have right now. I'm going to hide this, and I am going to just do that. And I'm going to bring the layer behind there. So now we have something like this, but this is it. So now I'm going to do something kind of scary, but it's going to look good after, I promise. Okay. But before I do that, I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to use the elliptical marquee tool, and I'm just going to make a circle, and we're going to use our gradient again to kind of give us the color that we want.
Rob, when did we first introduce selective mask? Or like select and mask is what it's called. And it will show up in your properties panel, typically if you have a selection already selected, go to your properties panel, hit select and mask. It was called something else before that, but it's been around easily for 2 years.
Yeah.
So it was just called we changed the name of it
Yeah, I remember
because
I was like, what is this?
Anaya says she loves your job. You do this so fast.
Thank you.
I think the key thing too is, and you'll play with it, but like sometimes it's a lot about like simplicity too.
Oh yeah, and
Right?
it helps. It helps, especially when you want to teach. And I want to help others like learn how easy it is, because there's a lot of people that do this stuff, but it's just too hard, you know.
Yeah.
So I always think of the beginners in mind when I'm making my stuff or just doing tutorials.
I love it.
So I've sampled all of this, and I'm just gonna start making a shape. All right, and you might not be able to see the shape right now because the blue kind of matches what we're doing. And so now I'm going to stroke path, use the mixture brush tool, and now we have it moving around like that.
I just love that. Looks so cool.
Thank you.
And good color choice again. We're like, of course, that's good.
Thanks. So now I made a copy of her, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the liquify tool. Because my idea is I want her face to blend into this purple.
Okay. Ooh,
And
this will be
so
fun.
I clicked on show backdrop so I can kind of see what the background looks like. And I'm going to use my smudge tool. I'm going to have everything on 100%. And I'm just going to move her face. I know this looks weird, but I'm going to try and make sure her face is like that, but making sure that it is within the within this shape. Okay. And I'm gonna press OK. Now, of course, you can't see her because this layer is on top, but if I do this, you can now see her. So I'm gonna put a layer mask on both of these because I kind of want to hide.
Yeah, kind of have it blend in more.
Yeah. And so here we go. Something like that.
That's awesome. Reminds me of Donnie Darko. Does anybody, Donnie Darko, anybody? Donnie Darko. I know these guys now, but
They probably do.
they do. Either way, Donnie Darko is like, I won't give it away, but it's very much like that. A wormhole coming out of the person, essentially.
Right.
And that's what that looks like. And that all you did is use liquify and zoop. Can you, and so the cool thing is like, even if you know, even if that was a smart object, you can apply liquify on top of that smart object and always go back in and change it.
Yeah,
If you want as well.
definitely.
Totally, William knows what's up. Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko, I love it. Very cool.
So now I think I'm actually willing to try this, what you were talking about earlier, the paint symmetry.
Yeah, totally.
So I press OK, and I click on the butterfly. I'm gonna do vertical.
Love it. I'm actually kind of playing around with it now. I'm not
yeah?
gonna lie. Yeah.
So I want to see if I can add some stuff to the background. Okay, so I just started drawing. Wow. Okay, so let me make my brush a little smaller. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, that is fun, and it gets really interesting when you start layering them on top of one another.
Wow. Yeah, this is a game changer. I wonder if I can even change the color. Can do something probably a little darker.
Yeah, you can kind of do that.
Wow. That's cool. I really like it.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to.
Yeah, since I don't have the Wacom tablet, my lines are like just not that great.
No, they are good. They just
Oh, okay. I think I
feel
found
free
it.
if you are doing this challenge to, you know, you can always combine it with other things.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can bring.
You know, that's
This
good.
back
I
in.
think it works well, maybe like as a background in some of these cases.
Yeah, and I wonder if I can. No, that doesn't work. I wonder if I can make it into a motion blur.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I actually like that. So I can get it higher. Yeah. So let me make a copy of that and I'm gonna flip it over. Maybe do a different blending mode. Yeah, you start to get some blue at the top.
I'm really interested in seeing what people come up with.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like easy. Like it's fun to play around with initially, but like you know,
to make it look great, it
patterns,
takes some.
Yeah, it takes some time.
Hmm.
Essentially, what I'm doing on my screen is I'm making a mess. Mine's a total mess. It's a total mess.
Yeah, and then I just play. I probably play too much with the blending modes, but some of the stuff I find are usually by accident, which I love. But yeah. Oops.
Very cool.
I'm gonna clip this onto this one to kind of give it some type of feel.
You wanna? I can't show you my mess. Sorry, Tim. Tim's like, can I see your mess? No, I can't show you. I like this, what you're doing. I love how that is looking like. That's a granite texture. I like this part right here. It starts to make it look like it's like space.
Yeah.
Kind of sort of thing. So it gets very, very meta.
Definitely. I wonder if I can play with this tape. I was gonna use it for something else, but I'm just gonna try it out.
And that's the big thing. I mean, with the challenge today, all about playing with symmetry brush, we just want to encourage play. And we also want you to come up with something nice. If you do, then maybe that ends up in your portfolio, because tomorrow's going to be a fun day.
Yeah?
Portfolio reviews
Portfolio
tomorrow.
reviews, yes.
Yeah, that's going to be super cool.
That I'm excited about that. So yeah, this is literally what I do. I just sit and mess around with blending modes, and if something comes out really cool that I really like, then I'll try it. And if not, at least I tried. So that's always been my thing. I kind of like this tape color. I just don't know where to put it. Yeah, I just don't know where to put it.
The tape.
Yeah, maybe I'm forcing it, but I just thought maybe I could.
I think.
Oh, what if I have? Yeah, what if I have different sizes of this, just all over? I'm probably gonna make this even more blurrier. So yeah, it's all trial and error, and I'm just messing around, seeing if I can come up with something cool.
Same here.
That's all I do. But yeah, and then.
So just so you know, Alexandra, you can submit before 3. Just so you know, the clock down in the lower right is your submission deadline just for this segment. So we'll review this symmetry submissions we have, actually multiple times today with each guest. So less than 5 minutes, we'll review what you've come up with as we play around in here, which is good.
So now I usually like to add some noise sometimes to my backgrounds, because it just kind of gives it that texture. So if you look closely, it just gives it that little oomph that is needed.
Yeah, it's interesting that the colors, and then once you add the cassette tape, almost kind of starts to give it like a retro feel, I think, because there's a cassette tape in there, which is interesting. Someone mentions Ryan angling the tape, and you can, we could turn it into a background pattern.
Right.
Jose is saying it looks great.
Thanks, Jose.
Yes.
Like, me and Jose are gonna be best friends.
Yeah, right.
It's been very supportive.
Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, I think. Oh, we can try what you told me about yesterday. The color lookup.
Yeah.
So this makes it like a lot darker. Oh, that's a different feel.
And it's just, that looks cool too. That kind of, play around.
Wow. Oh, I love how we brought this out in there.
Some of them are more subtle than others.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, trial and error.
That one's kind of,
It's like a horror movie. Tape nightmare.
And then there's like futuristic bleak. Some of these like make them look really cool, like cool as in, in temperature wise.
Right. There was one that I kind of liked. I don't remember which one it was. So I can definitely reduce the opacity for the color lookup to feel what I want. So, and maybe I can even see if I can reduce the opacity of some of the tapes. No, never mind. But yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and I'll show my mess here in a second.
let's see it.
It's a total mess. Let's go ahead and merge these layers. Oh, why is it doing that? I'm kind of running into an issue, but nonetheless, like here, we'll just switch over.
Okay.
You can see my, what I was, kind of trying to work on in terms of like the symmetry brush.
You're pretty accurate with your mouse.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It looks like a snowflake.
Right.
I get it. It looks like a snowflake. It needs help. Anyways, so what I would suggest, and I'll actually turn off a lot of this junk, starting like with a new layer, and again, I can actually stick with black, but I do want to point out a couple things real fast. Like we can use these we've already used, dual axis, right? So use this, you can stretch it out, hold down the option key will keep it centered, kind of stretch it out, and then you can start painting along that axis like so, okay? Nothing too crazy, I'd probably make this a hard-edged brush, right? So smaller, but crank up that hardness, right? And I can start to go along both of those axes. But you could take this and you can also manipulate it. So again, just like a new layer. You can distort these axes as well. So transform symmetry, you could do that at any time. So if you want to distort something, in fact, let's go with like something like parallel lines, right? Let's go to transform symmetry. Actually, no. Let's do like a wavy line. Right, and I can rotate that around, but you can basically transform this content as well. To get this want. So anyways, yeah, I just have ugliness. Yeah, I did not. I failed you. I failed you, community. Man, if I was only Kyle T. Webster or Robzilla or Voodoo Val.
Oh, Robzilla is so good.
You know? Or Shauna Parmesan. They are up next, just so you know. That's in about 30 minutes. We have a full day ahead of us today. Yes. And this is looking really... Did you just add this splash of color back there?
Mm-hmm. So
that looks really good.
I brought this gradient that I made a while back in Illustrator, I think. No, this was made in Photoshop, actually, because I used the liquify tool. And then I just kind of put this... the gradient, the background gradient on top of it, and I'm just messing around
that
with
it looks so good. Like,
thanks.
And this is sort of those things that you kind of like know maybe intuitively as a designer that it needs a pop of color, just like, you know, everything's kind of like the same tone, and you're like, typically need to have like, you know, have continuity and then some like a pop of color, if you will.
Exactly.
So it's just very unified, but I don't know. I'm just rambling.
I'm gonna try and do that thing that I showed yesterday, where you make a circle and you clip this into the circle. I'm just gonna bring these two to the top so you can see what I'm doing, and I'm just going to. Ooh, I kind of like this color right there. And so what I do is I make a copy of these, because I always want to keep the original. Oops. Make a copy of these. And I'm just going to group these two and hide them. And I'm doing that so I can always come back here and move the colors if I wanted to. Because these two, I'm going to merge it by pressing Command E, or you can right click and say merge layers. And if I go into filter, distort, I go to wave. I just like what this wave does. So you can start to kind of get all of these.
And I've seen that in your posters. The fact that you're increasing it to that larger size just kind of makes it look like you have all these floating blobs.
Exactly. Ah, dang it. Okay, I'm gonna keep pressing random until I figure out what I liked. I just missed the one I liked. So we're just gonna keep going. No, I don't like it.
And sometimes could you do this in a larger PSD so you have just this big element that you can reposition around the poster?
Yeah, and then you can have it wrapped around, so it actually wraps around the edges if you wanted to.
And I'll just click over to my screen just so you can see just this taking a snapshot of your poster.
I used that same technique.
Very cool. Yeah, we're back.
So now we have this like pretty cool effect. And I'm just gonna, I'm trying to bring it out of the background. Yeah. Kind of just have it on there. Maybe I can make a copy of this and clip it into those shapes and maybe do like a color burn or lighten. So now it kind of fits the overlay is cool too. Vivid light. So I'm just messing around till I find what I actually like. And so far I know that I liked the vivid, and soft light is pretty cool. Hard light, I really like hard light, just because of the color.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to
good.
Make these two bigger, maybe smaller, so they can hide. And the cool thing about this is, like, if I want to get rid of any of them, I can easily do that. Oh, I'm still on the symmetry stuff. Let me turn that off. Okay. So I can just hide parts of it.
Yeah, erase some of it on that layer mask. Very cool. You can continue to play with this. Of course, our clock did say 00000. It's actually a good thing, because it means we get to show off all of the fancy challenge submissions based on that symmetry brush. So again, right over here, just so you know what we're doing, they were submitted through this challenge tab using that symmetry brush, turning it on, and then selecting the brush, and then we'll click here to check, or actually, that's where you submit it. We'll click here to review these gallery submissions. Wait for it.
Someone drew you.
Oh, this is too much. This is hilarious. Ha ha ha. Well played, Van Dam. It's Van
Dam from yesterday.
What? Oh, this kid's amazing. You're killing me. You're gonna be my boss.
That's the 9-year-old kid, right?
Wow. Yeah, he is. He's like 9. Van Dam, it is you. You are so good. And the symmetry being used right here.
Right here,
What
yeah.
a good. I was just making random patterns, and now we have really cool, fun illustrations.
Mystery cat.
Mr. Oh, Lee! That's his sister. Congratulations.
Oh,
She
wow.
might be like 7 or so, and coming for your job as well. Using the symmetry is perfect.
Perfect. For cat.
Ah, man.
For faces, really.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ah, so nice. It's so simple. Great job. Great job. Love it. Feel free to dive into that gallery and add comments. Some of these, this was submitted 7 minutes ago.
Wow.
I'm not 100% sure how symmetry was used here. Either way, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Johan, good job. Aria.
Aria. I feel
This
like the
might have-
symmetry might have been used on both sides, maybe.
Maybe. That's from yesterday.
Okay, that's from yesterday. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Well, this is really fun. Look at these. Look, 7 and 9. I don't know. Lee, I don't know. Tell me how old you are. I have no idea. Like, I don't. Oop, let me just click off of that. My mouse got disconnected. But nonetheless, this usually happens for the first segment. It's everybody's first opportunity to play with this.
Yeah.
And I think they've brought up.
Ooh.
Oh, just in time, we have Camilla.
Camille, that is amazing.
Actually 2 minutes ago.
Did you use a
Very
Wacom for that?
cool. Yeah, to get these thin strokes. Very nice.
I might as well quit. These are too
That
good.
is- I know. It's very nice.
The type is like amazing.
Mm-hmm. So good. So super cool. Good job, Camila, and of course Van Dam.
Camila says she used the Wacom. Okay. I can't wait till I
Okay,
get my
thank you.
till I use the Wacom. She has very good like handwriting.
Yeah, right here you could tell this is pretty. This is really pretty tight.
It's really nice. And it seems like in the background she used the mixer brush tool, right? It looks like
maybe, but the thing is the symmetry brush doesn't work for like all the tools, and I want it to, because it doesn't work for mixer brush. It doesn't work for like smudge.
It doesn't work for mixer brush?
Yeah, we can double check, but
Yeah.
it's gonna disappear.
Let me see.
So click on the mixer brush on the side.
Mm-hmm. And then mixer brush. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not supported with this
So
too. Ah. Okay, you're right.
all good. Super cool. Lee. And we have, of course, Van Dam. I switched back to your screen.
Oh, okay.
And Camila as well. Just so you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Camila. That
Thank
was
you.
really good.
Thank you. Amazing. You can continue to work on these if you want to.
Yes.
Again, just like as long as it includes some element of the symmetry brush, obviously like right here, you have symmetry right in the center, just giving me a really, really big, gorgeous nose.
Right.
And yeah, appreciate that.
No.
You notice how I'm always looking straight forward profile. If I turn my head, you'll see how big my nose is. It's
That's
like
hilarious.
Really dramatic.
And so-
Really
And they
big
have till
shadows.
2:30 to submit today,
They do. Yeah,
Pacific
they have,
time. Yeah.
Till 2:30, and we'll be reviewing these for each segment.
Awesome.
And then we also have the XD Daily Creative Challenge. That's why clicking through those, you did see some others from, say, either yesterday's challenge or the XD challenge as well. But a lot's going on. And again, I like that you're exposing us to some of these new techniques with the mixer brush. And you've done some things even in Illustrator, and I think that's okay. You kind of know when to, use another app, right?
Right.
And
bringing it in.
yeah.
And I forgot I still have this. Ooh, no, I don't want it to clip into that. But yeah, like the possibilities are. I never feel like my poster are ever completed. I feel like there's always something that could be added to it or whatever.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to click that info tab. You can find out about Temi's work as I switch over to even this piece, by the way. Just as you showed,
Same
we
technique.
have, probably the blend tool. Like some of this stuff is
For the lines, yeah.
really cool. I've noticed this pattern in the background. That might have been done in Photoshop. I saw that in a previous piece right here.
I can show you guys how to do it today. It's pretty simple and fun.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
No,
that's
no
what Adobe
problem.
Live is all about. Put you on the spot and say, hey,
Do it.
make it cool, make something.
So I'm just gonna group all of
Make
these.
something for me.
Because I definitely want to do this. So I actually have an action that I made for it, but I'm going to show you guys how to do that. I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call it RD3. So RD stands for Reaction Diffusion. So Reaction Diffusion is like those patterns that you guys saw. You can go online and there's actually a software that a code that someone wrote that you can make yours, but I'll show you guys how to make it in Photoshop here. So the first thing you want to do is have your brush. Make sure you're on the regular brush, and make sure you're on the hard round brush. I'm going to take away the symmetry. And now I'm going to just start making circles. You can make some big, you can make some small. It's all up to you. Now be prepared, because this is going to be click intensive. I'm going to show you guys in a second. Like, it's really going to be click intensive, so prepare yourself.
Oh man, here we go.
I did it with my students, and I kid you not, for the 3 minutes straight, the kids were just clicking, and that's all I heard in the classroom, and it was driving me crazy. All right, so now that I have all of these circles, the more circles you have, the more detailed it will be, but yeah. So you want to go into Filter, Other, High Pass, and you want to have it at around 6, between 5 and 6. I usually like mine around 6.6. And then you want to go into Image, Adjustments, Threshold. You want to have your threshold until you can see the black rings. If you start to see white rings, you've gone too much. So usually around 126 or 128 is the good threshold. And make sure your preview is clicked so you can actually see the brushes. Press OK, and then you want to go into Filter and go into Blur and click on Gaussian Blur. And I usually like to have mine around 6. Now, since I already have this recorded, it's going to be easy for me to do all of this stuff. But I'm going to show you guys how to record it. So I made my folder here. I'm going to click on it, and I should be able to record, actually. Not sure why I can't record. Let me delete the folder.
And hopefully people know about actions and recording actions, and typically anytime you need to do something over and over,
you can record.
Yeah.
Is it because my background is locked? Okay, so begin recording. Okay, so once you press record, you need to make sure that you know what you're doing, because it's going to record everything. So I'm going to go into Other, High Pass, 6.6, Image, Adjustments, Threshold, 128, Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Press OK, and then once you press Stop, it's recorded in your actions. Right?
Yeah, and I'm glad these sessions are being recorded. Yes, you did not catch all that. That's actually available later to just rewind. But perfect. Now you have your own recording here in actions to run at any time.
And then if I press, I accidentally recorded in another action, so I'm just going to show you guys how to do it. So press this new thing called Create New Action. I'm just going to call it RD3, and then I'm going to do this one more time. But you guys can literally just do this on your first try. And the reason you have to make an action is because if you don't make an action, then you have to click, you have to do this step all over every time. And I don't have time for that. All right, so Gaussian Blur, press OK. All right, now I have it recorded, press Stop. And now if I click here on my action, I press play, it's gonna play that action over and over, right? And then you have to just keep clicking, and you guys will start to see the pattern form in a second. You start to see it from
And
on
is
the
it
edges.
building up that circle and all the effects?
Yes. So it's just applying that effect over and over, and as it does that, you start to get all these patterns. And when I tell you it's click intensive, as you can see, I am not joking. But if you have a faster computer, it works faster, right? So I'm gonna wait for it to catch up, and you start to see these patterns coming up.
Wait for it, wait for it.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, I remember actions. That's funny because I think it's like layer comps. It's like, I remember using layer comps.
Right.
Like something you used back in the day that you may or may not be using as much today for whatever
Then you can batch
reason.
edit, batch name your files and stuff. I was always doing that in college before I got into Lightroom.
Can I explain my favorite action that actually I use for Illustrator?
Sure.
Because everybody wants to be able to increase the stroke size by just using the keyboard. So I recorded an action that can actually do this.
Wow.
So I just hit F3, F4, and it increases the stroke size without actually going to that.
Wow.
But it's an example of something that you do a lot. Is there a way I can turn this into an action and assign it to a shortcut key?
Right.
It's like my favorite thing, and I just implemented it recently.
I'm gonna have to try that out.
Super cool.
So we're almost done with this. It's still loading. As you can see, the problem is we put a lot of Gaussian blur, so it looks very.
It looks like
blurry.
that. Isn't this like some sort of like a fungus that grows? No, this looks like coral. That's what it
Yes,
looks like. It looks
exactly.
like sea coral.
And I kept seeing these in people's designs, and my friend finally showed me how to do it, and I was
Wow.
just blown. But if you go online, if you search reaction diffusion, there is a software or a website to where you can actually control what it does.
Ooh, it looks like Mark's doing it. It looks like a brain pattern. A brain's a good way to put it.
That's what I was searching, and I saw brains, and I didn't like that.
Brains.
So the last thing you want to do is go into filter,
It's appropriate
sharpen
since mine is blown.
on sharp mask, and just bump that to 100. And as you can see, it makes it sharp.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not really making it sharp. It's still blurry, but it's just that it makes the edges very sharp. And so that's what makes it look like it's actually
Really
like-
cool.
Yeah. And so now that we have this, I'm gonna bring all of this stuff back.
Thank you so much for joining us, Kaylin and Jason. Just so you know, I'm here with Temi, who's designing in Photoshop, basically doing Photoshop compositing with photos and actually making your own like patterns and designs.
Mm-hmm.
These sessions are available on demand, by the way. So this is like day 2.
Right.
We'll probably be wrapping up here shortly because we got a full day. Shauna's going to be up next with Voodoo Val. They're getting ready.
Right.
I don't know. Looks like Val's. Looks like she's doing some lightsaber moves just to get ready. Is what she's doing, and Shauna's just like doing. She's doing yoga for hands. She's doing hand yoga because she's going to be the illustrator and lettering essentially, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
From compositing to lettering to animation, clear down to like sort of creating, comic strips, which is really cool. So, so much is going on. Thank you, Jason, for joining us. This is really cool. You have it right in the background.
Mm-hmm. And I just reduced the opacity and have it on soft light. Yes, Tim found the simulation website. That's exactly.
Oh, okay. And that's a good.
And it exports
you.
it as like a SVG file or PNG file or something
Yeah.
like that. So it's high quality.
Yeah.
So
This is very much it's like one of those interesting patterns that you could do using processing or basically like code.
Mm-hmm.
Like my boss's boss, up about like 5 levels. But Mike Chambers, Mesh, he does amazing work with code and will create these beautiful like works of art with code.
That's
just
crazy.
writing things, and then it's animated. So I think
Right.
he's using processing, and
crazy.
it comes out like this.
Right.
It's applying effects is what you did in the background there. So.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, now it's all about like where do I want to put it. I'm trying to see if I can put it on top of this.
This is one of those things where like you do as a designer, do you find that this is what I do. I add, I try all these things, and then I start taking away things.
Yep.
Too. Because I've noticed even with your poster art, this is like really, I don't know, like simple, if you will. You know, you didn't get crazy with, say, colors here or anything.
Right.
This is just really stark. And I think that shows just you being a mature designer, right? You could have kept her face full color,
Right.
but it would have clashed with
With
this.
the colors, yes.
You would have had muted skin tones with these bright pops of color, and it just works better black and white.
Exactly.
And by the way, here's that pattern too. Oh, sweet.
And I mixed it with something. That's why it kind of looks weird like that.
Yeah, he can't tell you what it is. Trying to keep his edge. Trying to keep your edge. Just can't tell you everything. But anyway, super cool stuff. I see that same technique that you did earlier today in terms of using the mixer brush.
Yeah.
And heavy load.
Dry.
Or dry.
Is it dry?
Sorry, there's dry, there's wet. There's
You're right. Dry, heavy load.
light, there's all sorts of things. So wet would make more sense.
Yeah.
Or dry, dry heavy load.
Dry.
On a gradient. So again, super easy, and I'm impressed with how easy you made this. Like,
Thanks.
even like the first thing you did, we were like done in like 10 minutes. I'm like, this looks good, stop. You know, and it keeps getting better and better, and looks really fantastic.
Thank
What you do. So yes, Crystal, you're gonna have to rewatch it. And Caroline, you're right. Photoshop does blow your mind after all these years, because some of these effects you're doing, not necessarily new.
Nothing.
right?
No, it's just all about placement. How am I putting them together? What am I experimenting with, and different things like that.
Yeah, I love it. Totally works. So you are gonna have to rewatch it. And yes, NATO says it's super educating and inspiring,
Thank you.
which is super cool.
I'm gonna make another. I have another copy of this.
By the way, like, get involved in these challenges. Like, this could end up in your, in your portfolio, your
Yeah.
Behance portfolio. Just to remind everybody, we are going to have portfolio reviews
review
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
I don't know if we necessarily need to show the schedule or not, but we can, since we haven't shown this all hour. But daily submissions happening today, and again, that's what we did yesterday. So you'll see imaginary creatures. Mark actually won Creative Cloud for his daily challenge. Today is all about symmetry brush. Tomorrow's portfolio reviews. And that's the big thing. Create what you want. Roll it into your portfolio. We'll review those with Temi, my good friend, as well as the other designers.
Yes, sir.
Do you just start working in Photoshop and then, like, just minutes and hours start going by? You're
Yeah,
like, what
and
happened to the time? Because you're just playing right now, and I could easily see you tweaking something for the next, like, 4 hours.
Yep, and then my wife would be like, "Hey, you've been here for 5 hours," and so, oops, and so yeah,
That's very good.
oops. I need to be on the layer mask, so I'm just gonna erase some of these, and if I wanted to, I could make another one and move it somewhere else.
Yeah. So, and hopefully, actually, where can people find you, like, online? If you do start posting some of this work on social media, like, where do you end up posting it?
So I usually post a lot of my stuff on Instagram. So my Instagram is at temi.coker. And I also post some stuff on Twitter as well. Right now I'm focusing on the fashion industry and trying to make posters that could become ads or just posters that could be different, you know, because I'm trying to target the fashion industry as well.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Very cool. And I think it's cool that, like, you're obviously designing in Photoshop. That's what it's all about today and tomorrow, all week, really. And you're like a photographer as well. So
Yeah.
you might have been using, you're making it look easy, like you're using sort of Adobe stock pics, which is awesome. But just as easy, like, as soon as you land, if you land in Dallas, we won't have to. That's another story.
That's another story, yeah.
But you immediately have, you basically have a photo shoot to go to.
Yeah, I have a photo shoot next week, and with my photo shoots, the cool thing I like about it is that I already know what I'm gonna do. So when I'm having my model pose, kind of have an idea of how I want them to look, what I want them to do, and things like that. So
Yeah, it's very cool. Well, cool. What kind of?
let's save this.
Thank you. Oh, come on, chat. Somebody's like, you should save your file. Thank you. Temi, you are the man.
Thank you.
In the house. We'll be here tomorrow as well. Stay tuned. For Shauna Lynn Penchezen. Did I say that right? Penchezen? Boom. Voodoo Val in the house. Super fun all day. Hang out with us. Stick around, Heidi, Lee, Gracia, and everybody. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
See you soon.